preaching is a phenomenal privilege, and I have a great joy reflecting on a passage for a short homily or a sermon. This particular week, I've been spending time with the image of St. Stephen in the hours before he was martyred. I felt really impressed by the way he stood firmly by what he could see that the others around him couldn't see. "Look," he said, "I see the heavens opened and the Son of Man standing at the right hand of God," complete with exclamation mark. And this enrages those others. They cover their ears, they rush together, they drag him outside the city, and then they stone him to death. It's absolutely horrible what people will do sometimes to someone who sees things that they do not. And I've also been reflecting on the coronation. The Son of Man standing at the right hand of God was clearly Jesus claiming kingship, divine kingship. So I started writing about this parallel, and then I wondered what my artificial intelligence app might have to say about it. And I keyed in, "Write me a short homily," linking Acts 7:55 to 60 with the coronation of King Charles. Within 30 seconds, it's typing. The vision of Jesus at the right hand of God is a clear indication of Jesus' exalted status and his authority. It's a reminder that Jesus isn't just a historical figure, but a living, reigning king. And that brings us to the coronation of King Charles. And so it goes on. We are living in extremely complicated times. Things that we rolled our eyes at in science fiction years ago are now reality. The destruction of our habitat is changing everything, and a leading AI scientist has recently warned us that we may soon have no way of knowing what is true. And yet I believe that God still cares, and God is our continuity. I'm stressing this today about God's continuity because one of the arguments for keeping the monarchy is its continuity and the way that gives us a sense of security as a nation. And I find it interesting that we're still investing this need for a stability born out of continuity in a human being rather than a machine or a constitution. A human being who is surrounded by ancient things at their coronation, things that connect them and us to the past. A heavy stone in the centre of the Battye pavement in Westminster, which shows the whole of creation revolving around the place in the middle of this pavement on which the monarchs were crowned. It was believed that the heavens revolving around the earth maintained the cosmos, and the nation revolving around their monarch maintained their peace. And placing all of this in the Christian equivalent of the temple maintained our Christian faith. It reminds us that we are not at the mercy of the latest threats to our existence, however complicated they are, because we have someone to relate to, someone of divine continuity, someone whose job it is to be there for us. In King Charles, everyone has people. We have people. In God, everyone has permanency. Stephen saw Jesus standing at the right hand of God the Father. His relationship to Jesus overrode any fear he had of the people who then killed him. And today we can join in his role by allowing his faith to provide the church with continuity and stability. The life of Jesus, the ongoing life of Jesus in the world, the evidence of God's eternal kingship and eternal love for the world. Like Stephen, each one of us who follow Jesus are called to stand firm regarding what we see about the truth, though others cannot always see what we see. Like Stephen, we're called to declare what we see, even when it brings us grief. And like King Charles, each of us is also called to be a sign of the continuity of God's love in the changing world. The changes we are experiencing are immense, but they do not rule our hearts. Our hearts are steady even within these, because it is Jesus who sits on the throne of us. We are not at the mercy of change. We are not at the mercy of anything revolving round us. We are emissaries of a loving Creator within God's world, pointing to our teacher, saying with Stephen, "Look, I can see the heavens open and the Son of Man standing at the right hand of God." We are not defined by anything that threatens us, but by our allegiance to King Jesus, the one who we are here to worship this day. Amen.